Lab Reviews. I am Marcus J. Richardson, and today's film is not a film, it's some more comedy. And the comedian we're looking at today is Dave Chappelle. Now, Dave Chappelle has been gone for a while, and he's got a couple of specials on Netflix which you should check out. I'm kind of not covering any individually here, but just go and check them out. He's a very funny guy. Now, the first one I watched, I'll be honest, it starts a little bit arrogant and a little bit tongue-in-cheek. Now, Ricky Gervais, I would say, isn't so tongue-in-cheek about his snobbery, whereas Dave Chappelle's a little bit more tongue-in-cheek. You know, obviously, he's a black dude, but he does joke about the fact that everybody thinks he comes from the hood, and actually, he doesn't. He didn't mean he doesn't obviously come from a massively privileged background, but it's interesting to hear that actually he's not from the hood. So, Dave Chappelle's been gone for about 12 years, and he never really kind of answers where he's been. He just sort of touches on it and moves on. But what Dave Chappelle does do is keep you entertained for the entire time. There's something about him that he holds your attention, he keeps you intrigued, and you just don't know where he's necessarily going to go with it next. The one thing that's important to know about Dave Chappelle, though, is that he is very close to the bone. Again, a bit similar to Ricky Gervais. If you're easily offended, I probably would give this one a miss. If you're transgender and easily offended, definitely give this one a miss. He's very, basically, he's harsh about everyone, but then he will always kind of try and empathize with everyone. So he's been trolled a lot recently from one of his previous Netflix things he did, and also similarly to Ricky Gervais. Ricky Gervais spoke about Caitlyn Jenner. Caitlyn, he called her Bruce Jenner, which is their dead name or something like that, and you shouldn't call them their old name. Anyway, both Ricky Gervais and Dave Chappelle talk about this kind of thing. And what Dave Chappelle says is he doesn't necessarily see it from the perspective of a transgender person, but what he does is he empathizes with transgender people. And what he does do is he digs out anyone who has beef with transgender people, anyone who's got a problem. Now, for anyone who is familiar with the African community and the black community, you know, to associate with transgender and homosexuality can sometimes be deemed as it's a difficult area, you know. Like I have arguments with some of my friends about it because, you know, there's quite a lot of religious connotations attached to it. So for him to stand up for because he does actually stand up for transgender people, innit? But I do think that some transgender people will also be offended by some of the stuff he says. So it's a tricky one to call, but he doesn't really care about what anyone thinks. But what's interesting is he still cares. And I know that sounds a little bit odd, but he does, you know, he believes that everybody's equal and we all should have our own place in society, but he also believes we're all equal, so therefore we're all fair game to have a crack at. And he does, as I say, get a little bit close to the bone, but I really did enjoy it. I think he gets the balance just right. I mean, I do like dark humor. Again, I know I keep referring back to Ricky Gervais, but it's because I've watched it recently and done a review about him. Ricky is also very close to the bone, and I didn't like him, but I found it very, very funny.
Maybe that says a lot about you and your sense of humour.
What do you mean?
Well, A, that you're weird and you like twisted stuff.
Thanks. Do we have to have this discussion now, here?
Well, we don't have to, but we are doing.
Cool. I'm going to carry on. So, Dave Chappelle, I'm going to give 3 stars to. Not quite as good as a couple of the other comedians I've done recently, but definitely worth a watch. And the one thing I will say, actually, that is, it's almost worth watching for this. He tells you a lot of really interesting stuff about the civil rights movement and slavery and things like that. The civil rights movement and slavery. I can hear a lot of you thinking, but you're dickheads, because actually, that's a really important part in all of our histories that we should all know a lot about. And actually, Dave Chappelle gives you a really funny and insightful insight, I guess so, we'll go with that. An insightful insight into civil rights movement and slavery. And so for me, worth a watch. If you've gone through some of the other things that I've said to watch, do go and check out Dave Chappelle. Not too bad. 3 stars. I'm Marcus J. Richardson. Until next time, peace.